Hi everyone, I'm Ben, and this is the Board Game Blueprint. This week I was thinking we would have a design discussion, not necessarily about the mechanics this time, but in fact maybe a little bit about the components. To be specific, I was thinking we'd talk a little bit about these cards here. Cards of all shapes and sizes that can be used however you really like. In this segment, I'm going to be talking quite a bit, so feel free to just kind of jump ahead to whatever you feel like, but I think I'd like to first discuss what cards are often used for in games. Before we begin, I'd like to also bring up Grant Rodiek's 54 Card Guild resource, available online and of which I will link in the description below. It offers some really great card uses that I might not have remembered as I was putting this video together, but I really encourage you to check it out and use it as a design constraint to really get those creative juices flowing and maybe create an even tighter design. Thanks! I think in a lot of games, cards are used to be played, whether it be in retaliation to another card that was played by another player, or maybe something that you wait to hold on to react to something. Sometimes cards can be used to lay out in front of you, but in general, cards present information, whether it's presented only to you privately or perhaps to the table when you put it out in front of everyone. I found that the different sizes of the cards can also convey what the card might mean in that particular game. So for instance, a smaller card like this mini card is a little tiny to read, but it really provides an intimate experience for the player who has it in front of them. I wouldn't necessarily use a mini card for something that needs to be on a large board unless it was simply to inform one particular aspect. So with the size of this card, I might argue that the best kind of information is maybe one or two quick little things, icons, maybe some words in particular that really convey a lot with something on this little of real estate. Here's a photo of these 5 cards next to each other to show the relationship in scale. The next card that I'd like to discuss is kind of my favorite one, which is the bridge size card. Yes, it is slightly thinner than the standard poker size, which we have here. And I personally am a fan of them because they make me feel a little bit like in control because of the slightly smaller or thinner dimension. Regular poker cards, as we've seen in regular poker games, can be used, just as kind of mentioned before, to hold information in front of someone, or when they're laid out on the table, to present information clearly enough to everyone else around it. I find that the bridge is just a little bit more manageable, again, once more, and it's a kind of nice design challenge because of how it sort of fits in relationship. If you can fit something on a bridge card, you can most likely fit something on a poker card. Now these two sizes I've never used before, and but I have played a prototype with it. This is the tarot size, which in relation to a poker is going to be a little bit wider and quite a bit taller, which can be really nice for if you have a lot of illustrative artwork. I find that the poker size is of course good as evidenced by games like Magic the Gathering and so many other popular games or soon to be popular games. But the tarot size really allows for even more. As I'm even holding it this way, we can use it as a landscape card, and there was a prototype in the Kudo Plays competition that I entered into that I feel like could, if they weren't already using the tarot cards, could really maximize the immersion level by putting beautiful artwork on them. And last but certainly not least is a level up from the tarot card, the jumbo card. So I'm going to put that even behind it just to show. We got, yeah, a nice like maybe ½ inch, or is that a full inch, around based on the tarot size card dimensions. And this is going to be great for players who might have a little bit of difficulty with reading things or seeing things from afar. I would argue that most of the time, jumbo cards are a little bit unwieldy to carry, so they could be great for actually using as a makeshift board, as a modular board to place pieces on top of. I wonder if maybe that's something that I'll experiment with now that I've said it. So in addition to those standard kinds of cards and sizes, we also have a couple other different shapes. So I'm going to show you what those are. We have circles, we have hexagons, and we have squares. So, as you might imagine, these can be used however you really choose to. I've seen many a game use circles as planets for interstellar travel. I've seen hexagons used for just about anything to really match them up next to each other and form a nice little grid. And then of course, squares can be used in much the same way. Mechanically, cards are great for passing around, as evidenced by so many games that introduce card drafting, or picking one of a drawn hand and then passing the rest to the next players. I've seen cards used as a dexterity element as well, where you're going to actually throw the card onto the board or onto other cards in addition. Cards are also very convenient for putting into sleeves, and what I mean by that is actually writing on the sleeves with a Sharpie to change any stats in your prototypes as you're on the fly, live, playing your design. And later on, you can erase your mistakes with a dry erase marker over the Sharpie, wipe it off clean for a new slate, and begin once more right on the spot. With the different sizes of cards that we saw earlier, we can use them for maybe different roles in the game. A smaller card might be a piece of equipment that the players have to hold on to or deliver to some certain site, whereas the larger card might substitute in as a player reference card or a map that they can put their resources and other cards on. Now, these were just kind of my ramblings about cards in general, whatever came to mind. If you have any other ideas about how to use them, please leave them in the comments below so maybe I can learn another thing or two. And feel free to share those ideas so that we can all grow together as designers. If you like this video and are interested in maybe more design discussions, please let us know in the comments below about what topic you'd like to talk about next. Of course, we'd love to keep the dialogue going, so just go ahead and get that thread started, and we'll see you out there. I'm Ben, this has been another episode of the Board Game Blueprint, and together, let's build something great.